the space just changes every single day, pretty much, right? Like,
Right.
you blink and something, Google comes out with some new guidelines, or Facebook or Meta comes out with some new guidelines,
Right.
or whatever the case may be. Like, you have iOS 17 that's coming up. Like, things just change so much that, like you said, you can't really catch yourself thinking too far ahead, because if you try to think too far ahead, you might end up finding yourself in a situation where, like, you can't even go past step one.
Right.
So you definitely have to think about what's the next best move, and kind of just be adaptive and be flexible, and just understand that, like you said, it's a numbers game. Like, you could think, hey, I have this great piece of content, I think it's going to do amazing, it has the right messaging, and it flops.
Definitely.
But you can't let that deter you from releasing the next piece of content, because sooner or later something's going to stick. And then from there, you figure out, like, okay, what about this specific piece of content?
There you go.
Allowed for me to, like, like, okay, it was because I said this, or I said it in this tone, or I said it in this manner, or maybe it was something as simple, the subject you're talking about, whatever the case may be. Like, you have to be able to figure out that one key element that makes that piece of content hit, so then you can go ahead and duplicate that in the other pieces of content. But another thing too is, it's going to change. Like, it's not always going to be, maybe you do have a style that you're able to leverage it over and over and over again, but then sooner or later, like, it's going to fatigue. People are going to get tired of seeing that. So you always have to keep up with the different trends that you're seeing on these different platforms, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, and just seeing what other people are doing, the style of videos, the topics that they're talking about. A lot of times you're able to, even if it's something that, like, when you see it the first time, you're like, it might not really relate to me. You can grab certain elements of that and really, like, turn it around and curate it for your own, like, for your own branding, your own audience.
So most people, when they ask me, it's funny that you mentioned style. The first thing they ask me is, what is the Montana method? The Montana method is my way of life. It's my kung fu. It's what I hope to pass on to the world once I'm not here anymore. So I've noticed that Montana method, that style of Nelson, comes out in all my content, right? And what I love about content and the way creators like me come out and bring that to the marketplace is, it's almost like food. You have, I feel like eating sushi today. I feel like eating Italian food. I feel like eating a burger. And that's how I feel about content. Some days I'll feel like just being entertained. Sometimes I need some positivity, some mindset stuff, kind of what I talk about. Other days I just want to look at cat memes. That's kind of how content is. Except for TikTok. Don't even get me started on TikTok, bro. That's like, everybody's viral except me. Take it personal. Don't even get me started. You know what it is, though? I'm not going to sell out. Like, I don't want to be I'm not going to dance in underwear. I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do it.
I don't think that's worth it.
It's not worth it. I don't think so either.
Because anybody could go viral doing some really dumb, stupid stuff. The question is, can you go viral being yourself?
That's a good one.
I think it's more importantly, like, who are you trying to get the attention of? Because I think it's not, if you look at it like, I'm going to do anything, it's okay. You're either going to reach someone who's going to endlessly just scroll on their phone mindlessly. And it's just, they're looking for this engaged relationship where you're there, but you're not there. Your subconscious just like scroll death, right? And then there's other people who are looking for specific pieces of information. For like me, for example, I like looking at like data stuff and science stuff, and maybe even the combination of both. So like Medium, I look at a lot of different articles that come out on Medium. There's LinkedIn for me is like awesome. It's like, especially because the people are so willing to provide information and education around things that I'm interested in. So that's where I really think it comes down to, like, who are you trying to get the attention of and why? And if you can understand that, now you're not worrying about if I go viral or not. It's like, okay, I am further capturing my audience. A lot of people don't understand like the law of averages, right? So if I have one like and I make a video like that and the next one gets 2 likes, right? That video with saying that specific thing in the first 3 seconds, right? I'm going to keep on going in that direction. Because the law of averages, if I continue to increase, my average will therefore increase as well, right? And I think a lot of people don't get or understand that concept. It's not why, it's what. What did I do? What gave this the energy it needed to get in front of 100,000 people? That's what I think the cool question that people have to start asking, because it's not the other way around. It's almost like it's a little selfish if it's one way and not the other, right? Because it's like you're a creator, you're trying to serve, you're trying to create things that people are interested. You're trying to talk about things or say things to motivate people. Some people are looking for motivation. Some people are looking for, it could be recipes for vegans, like trying to spice up their life and get a little bit more crazy with the spices and different oils and stuff. It's depending on what you're looking at and who's going to give that to you. And I think that that's a really important aspect of what not only people need to know, but what the digital marketing kind of advertising scene needs to realize.
Mm-hmm. And you also have to understand too, I think a lot of people that are trying to learn digital marketing or consider themselves digital marketers, but are not as knowledgeable when it comes to these things.
Bro, if I had a penny for every digital marketing course I see on social media.
Oh bro, everyone's a digital marketer. According to YouTube and Google and everything that comes up, everyone and their mama is a digital marketer.
Tell me about it.
But I think it's understanding that not every single platform is for you. And sometimes people have a hard time kind of conceptualizing that, or they're too scared to try to expand because they don't hear about other friends that have businesses that are in other platforms.
Right.
But other platforms, like depending on what you're selling or where you're trying, like whatever your brand is made of, whether it's a service or a product, certain platforms are going to work better for you. Like if you're in a service-based industry, like for example, like trucking insurance, right? Like you're probably, odds are, something like Instagram, Facebook does well. TikTok does extremely well as well. But another platform that a lot of people probably won't consider is LinkedIn. And it's literally the number one place to go to because you have so many people within that space that are working there that you can build connections. It's a little different because you're not going directly to the consumer and saying like, hey, like come get insurance from me. Like you're a trucker, you need insurance, come do it with us. But you're communicating with people that have connections within the specific industry that are not recommending your business to
building
consumer.
a community.
You're building
it's more
a community.
About community at that point.
And it's a different angle. It's a different approach, but it's being able to have the being flexible, being adaptable, and understanding that I don't need to do what everyone else is doing. Like if everyone's going right, it's okay for me to turn left. Obviously, you don't want to go too far off left and veer off, but it's okay to figure out what's on this side because sometimes the grass might be greener on this side. And then all of a sudden, you really got to try everything. You really do.
But drop the things that aren't working. Like be objective. Don't allow something to kind of consume you emotionally. It's like, oh, why isn't this working? It's like, well, a lot of it's research. A lot of what people don't understand is that this is all based off of what's currently out there, right? That's what these algorithms are intended. It's like a ranking system, right? It's so like Google. Very much like a rank, whether first, second, third, fourth spot, right? Video, content, if it's some sort of algorithm to where it's trying to capture a certain impression or capture a moment with someone, all now depends on the medium, right? What kind of content are you displaying? And if it's a wild world. There's so many ways to get your voice out there. I think that's why everybody's a digital marketer per se, because they consider themselves in the world of digital marketing. But at the end of the day, someone who does content could be considered a digital marketer. Right. Someone who does a search engine optimization. That's another whole different world, but content marketing, that's a digital marketer. Someone who does ads, that's a digital marketer. Someone who just works on a website, right, gets people to buy a certain product, right? Either with a percentage off or something. That's a digital marketer. A digital marketer is a very a broad term. I think people need to be very choosy on what they actually need, not what the industry is. What's the term for the larger bubble, right? Digital marketing. Okay, cool. But what do you need as a brand? You need to find out the mediums and channels that best relate to your target audience. You know, it's like, who am I trying to talk to? I'm not trying to, like you, maybe TikTok's not the exact, it's not outperforming others because of the fact that, well, if I'm thinking TikTok, I'm thinking probably younger kids.
Right.
If I'm thinking Instagram, Facebook, I'm thinking a little bit older. Facebook, for sure, the majority are a little bit older. Right. Instagram's kind of in the middle.
It's like our generation, Instagram.
It's very generational. That's another thing that a lot of people don't consider. MySpace.
Of course.
That if you had a MySpace, you ask any 20-year-old, I don't even think, they don't even know. They weren't even in a position to where MySpace would be even an option.
Yeah, they've heard about it, but that's it.
Right.
Even at that.
It's like an urban legend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this thing, MySpace, bro?
And this guy named Tom.
Like my older cousin, who's like 15 years, bro, he's so old. He's 15 years older than me. He talks about
copying and pasting the layouts, right? That's when the, borrowing, or that's when people were handing out code for a layout. If you knew how to copy and paste it, you could pretty much do whatever you want.
That was kind of prehistoric digital marketing.
It was.
Web development, UX, UI.
Yeah.
Yo.
UX, UI design. I mean, it all comes down to it. It's literally like, hey, look, web development, app development, MySpace. It wasn't an app. It was just a website, right?
It was a website, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm already 10 years ahead, so I'm thinking, damn, did they have an app?
No. Cell phones weren't that advanced.
They weren't that advanced
Bro,
back then.
I would pay money to see Zuckerberg versus Tom from MySpace in like a UFC fight or some shit.
No.
That would be awesome.
You know what's crazy?
Now I'm just trying to think of Tom, and I'm like, Tom.
What does he look like?
Bro, you don't remember that?
You know what's crazy?
He had that stupid ass picture of him.
You know what's crazy about him? That he literally he sold MySpace and no one ever heard about him.
Nobody.
He completely disappeared.
He sold MySpace?
He did. I believe it was the Japanese that bought it.
Really?
I don't know.
They tried to do something like post Facebook era?
Well, after he sold it, like that's where it just, and then Facebook kind of it worked out perfectly. It was like one was going this way.
Started. Got
the
it.
wave changed.
What was before MySpace?
Nothing.
No. Actually, before TikTok, what did you brought it up to me the other day? What was the one that was before TikTok? There was
Vine.
No,
yes.
Vine was
amazing.
Huge.
Vine was amazing.
And it was super funny.
It really was.
It was the first version of TikTok.
It really
right?
Essentially, yeah.
And I loved it because the videos were, you knew it was 6 seconds. What? So you were going through, you were running through content like this.
Well, that's when they found out that, hey, look, if I can hook you for 6 seconds, now in reality, you're just chasing.
Right.
You're chasing. Honestly, in a sense, these guys know what they're doing. It's like it's a phone.
Yep.
You're looking for the next shot of dopamine. Right. You're looking for the next high, whether it's a laugh or some new piece of information or something about somebody that now you can tell somebody else.
Yeah, dude.
There's millions and millions and millions of dollars that go into research on, what kind of information is important to people and how much time they're willing to spend consuming all that info.
You ready for me to blow your mind? Louis Vuitton spent $3 billion last year in marketing. $3 billion.
Is that fact?
That's a fact. You can look that up. That's 15% of their gross revenue. If people are willing to pay and invest money to get your attention that bad, how valuable is your attention? That's what I try to tell people. You don't know what you're doing to your life when you're just like, bro, your attention is gold.
It's gold.
Attention is the new money. Attention is the new money. It's everything. Attention, and it's crazy because I forgot the statistic. It's like 85% of the attention is occupied by like 5% of the population. It's like Kim Kardashian, Drake, those kind of accounts have 85% of the eyeballs on them. Attention is a commodity, man. It really is, and whoever has the most eyeballs, you're a powerful human being.
That's why the advertising is so is such a lucrative space because it's, if you're able to go beyond like and think like a marketer and say, okay, so who's my audience? And then now I can guarantee you that if there's two brands, one brand invests in marketing and the other brand doesn't, and one brand is constantly showing pieces of content, a customer is probably going to be more likely to buy from the person who's doing some advertising versus not, right? It's like, it's logical. It's no brainer.
Right.
Now, you got to realize that there's a cost, right? Mm-hmm. So in advertising, it's like a cost per click or a cost per, it's not 1 impressions, it's 1,000.
Right.
So that's your CPM. So it really is about, it's in fact, yes, it's 100% that is the liquid, or not the liquid, the digital gold of our era, right? It's how long or how many times can you capture someone's attention or get them to think about something? And if you're always thinking about it, odds are that when it comes to whether you're going to buy it or not, that information is going to help guide that decision.